the beginning part of it is going to be about dedication rituals. A ceremony would usually include more people, but a ritual for yourself would be called a dedication ceremony. And it's when you decide that things need a change and you're recommitting to a goal or an outcome that you're really looking for. So since my lack of commitment, my lack of follow through with last week's homework, that's what I thought we could talk about. If you guys are, with the interest of a dedication ceremony, when you do decide that you want to learn more or choose a path, it's just a promise really to yourself. And there's a couple ways to go about it, but the biggest one is like the Wiccan way, which you can take references from. And remember, nothing has to be done exactly, but it would be first a cleansing of some kind, whether it's the ritual bath that you do. And the big intent with the cleansing is to get your mind off of everything that's going on in your physical life and turn it to your spiritual life. And so you want to relax your muscles, relax your mind, your body. You want to get all of the day's stresses done and out. So that a lot of time, that's why they do the ritual baths, because it's pretty hard to get into a bath and not calm down or relax and, maybe even reflect or get into those deeper thoughts. Water is that element of deep emotion and reflection.
Can I float in my pool and get the same effect?
Well, okay.
I really just love floating in my pool. Like with I swear, I just feel so zen, and I'm just like floating with my head underwater. So can I do that?
You can. You can.
Do I need rose petals or anything floating around?
You could definitely do any kind of flowers that you wanted, whatever's easy to sort of clean up. This is where we get into things you put in your bath don't go down the drain well. So be careful. Be careful what you throw in your bath. I remember
when your sister put rose petals and oil in the bath and the whole thing clogged up.
Yeah, really bad.
Like, oh, Lord.
Well, that doesn't come on. If you buy a kit or you read something, most people don't say, oh, and by the way, this stuff's going to be really hard to go down your drain, and you probably shouldn't, just throw everything in there and hope for the best. But oils, if you don't do a ton, and then salts, of course. So salt is a representation of the earth, and that's huge for the grounding part of it. You want to be grounded and stay in this sort of centered mind frame. You can make a ritual like this as big and dramatic as you want, or you can keep it very small and simple. And it's the same with the dedication. The dedication goal could be something like, I want to dedicate the next year of my life to something, doing something, learning something, or it could be, I want to dedicate the next month towards a smaller goal, a week, whatever it is. But the dedication comes so that we can take ourselves more seriously. I was realizing that maybe if I had done something to really firm up, like this is what I'm going to do for this week, because I'm really trying to learn this tarot deck card, then maybe I would have stuck with it. I would have taken it more seriously. Just like when you make an altar and you decide this is my space and nothing's getting set on it. My phone doesn't go on it. My coffee cup doesn't go on it. The cat's food bowl doesn't go on it. Like you just, you're only doing your magical works there, or you're putting things there that have the intention of magic. So it's a big topic, and I would rather you guys ask me questions about types of stuff or what would be unclear, or like I need help pulling information out of me, because I could go like this big with it, or the very just the essential parts of it. So there would be 3 parts. I can start with this, like the small, break it up into 3 parts. The 3 parts would be first your cleansing bath. And when I say bath, that's a loose term for any body of water, including if you only have a shower. I actually like to meditate under running water. I think that feels really good to me. So I stand in my shower and do like a clearing and cleansing protection of light thing. I have a bathtub. I just don't really use it. So it's any water that you can be in.
I do. I use it, and it's really nice. I don't know why she doesn't get in it. This is really big, deep bathtub that I love.
When we redid our house, I bought this bathtub specifically for this purpose, and I've yet to use it. We've lived there, 2 years, 3 years, I don't know. But anyways, I like my shower. It's the water that comes out in one of those rain heads. And so that just feels natural to me. So any type of water that you feel you can get into the zone of like very relaxed state, releasing all your stress and anxiety from stuff that's going on. That is what the water is really meant to do, is sort of to take that stuff away, just to release all that. From there.
So wait, can I stop you right there?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Of course.
So you're in the water, either the bathtub, the shower, the pool, if you're me.
A pool, lake, ocean, river, pond.
Or you could be in the ocean.
Any of those
so
things.
Are you saying something as you're doing this? Are you just thinking it in your head? What's going through your mind as you're in the water?
Well, I like the way you put it, going through your mind, because remember, the best thing that we can bring to our spirituality is a focused mind. So you do not have to say anything out loud if you don't want to. You can, of course, talk to the universe openly, but in your mind, you want to just express what you're trying to do. You can say the words relax in your head. You can say, like, shake off the negative energy, send it back to where it comes from. And you think about the cleansing words. That's like, wipe all of these things away that I don't need anymore. Any past hurts, any pains, poor relationships that have damaged me, parental relationships that have damaged me. And that you're just trying to get away from all of those thoughts that creep into your mind when you're trying to have a quiet moment. So the cleansing bath is for that. It has partial effect for cleansing of your body and letting you know that something new is starting, that this is a ritual thing that you're getting ready to do. Because then afterwards, what you dress yourself in can be very purposeful as well. If you guys haven't heard the term sky clad, that means to be naked during rituals or ceremonies, but you can do it in a cloak and be sky clad underneath if you want. You can put on your regular clothes, your favorite witchy outfit. Jewelry is a big thing. If you've dedicated jewelry for yourself, or you have like the favorite items that you put on that give you a feeling. All of this is about stirring that feeling in your soul to, like, here's what I'm coming forward to do in front of, the all, the universe, the energy of everything, whatever you call it, the deities, the Lord and Lady, whoever you're speaking to when you're dedicating yourself to the path. That's really what's in your mind. Is if it's the moon or a universal energy or a deity specifically because you're working on a certain thing. I was thinking Artemis and warrior woman type stuff, when you're really working through things, then you can definitely speak directly to that energy and just go, I'm coming to you cleansed of everything that I can get rid of at this point to grow in some way. Like, those are just the things that to think about. Okay. How well did I answer that?
You did good.
Okay.
That's good.
All right. So after the cleansing, and then you get to dress yourself in whatever you like, however you like, with jewelry. I always add in jewelry because I think that those elements really help us get into who we envision ourselves to be if there was no outside judgment. You go from that to your sacred space. And with sacred spaces, you guys, that's any space where you feel comfortable talking to the universe, saying the words, opening up your heart and soul to your purpose and whatever you're looking to change or learn or do. So the place where you hold your ritual or your dedication is really up to you. It should just bring about, again, that feeling. You should feel safe. You should know that nobody's really going to interrupt you. You guys remember my story about doing stuff in a park? That was a terrible idea. So finding a place where you won't be interrupted, or that you're in secret. Because I have this spot at the beach that I do stuff, and there's such tall grass around me. Nobody ever knows I'm there, and it's back off away from the water. So I have found my secret spot at the beach where sometimes I can hear people walking by, but they don't know I'm there at all. All right. So once you get into that ritual space, the language that you're going to create for a dedication is 100% up to you, and let it feel natural and normal. Speak to the universe like you're speaking to your best friend. Say the things that you want to change or learn or find out about yourself. You can ask for sending signs in dreams. You can ask for sending things in real life. An example of that is, for a long time, we've been searching for family members. Our family is very disconnected and scattered to the wind. So we got on 23andMe, and I'm 7 years of this shit looking for our family. And then all at once, boom, 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 we started finding people. And it was crazy because we've been asking for this for a long time. We never set aside a ritual to do anything, but eventually thinking about it enough, it came about. So if you're really hoping to dedicate energy towards finding out about your heritage, there'll be things that come into your path, whether it's somebody gifts you a 23andMe kit and all of a sudden it leads you down a long line of, discovery. But it's as you ask for the things that you're looking for to change or to bring you into a new knowing, all those things will just pop into your path. So that's what we're trying to summon the energies to bring us the things that we're looking for. And you do that through the dedication. If it was to say just get better at the craft, whether it's practicing magic, doing spells, learning more, it would be setting aside time for yourself, making it easier for you to find time for yourself, finding like-minded people who can open up your world to new things. So that's the ritual part. And like I said, there's no wrong or right way to do it. It's just whatever you feel. So talk to the universe like it's your best friend, your secret friend, maybe the only one who knows you. And then and you can do with this, you can also do circles, as you guys know, either casting a circle, putting down a protective salt circle to keep you in that realm of like, always protect yourself from white light. If you want to do salt or candles, whatever it is, but because you're going to be going in deep, when you're going to be really opening yourself up deep emotionally to speak to the universe, just make sure that you do a white light of protection around yourself, a salt circle in the room or space where you want to. And in nature, you still can do the salt circle if you want, just put very little salt so that it doesn't actually kill anything, because salt is pretty high. Salt can kill plants and all kinds of little insects and stuff.
Does it have to be like black salt, or can it be the Himalayan pink salt?
I use Himalayan salt that I have honestly bought in bulk from Costco. You bless it or cleanse it, like sage it, and just, release any negative energy of wherever it came from, because it was put through a process. And then you use that for your magical workings. So yeah, Himalayan salt is perfectly fine. Don't fall into the trap that believing in the colored of salt is going to make things better or worse. It's going to be your thoughts that make it stronger or less strong. But that was a great question. Okay, so I was going to say for time, everybody's different, and definitely what you're dedicating yourself to is, you'll know how much time you really need for it. So this could be anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour to a couple hours. If you really just want to sit with yourself inside that circle, do tarot inside the circle, ask the universe questions to help guide you into a direction if you're feeling very lost. But the last part of this is going to be closing it out. And then it's what you do right after you close out your dedication that makes the most difference, because you should walk away from this feeling like you just started a journey and a door open to you. So in your mind, imagine that as you close out your circle or leave your sacred space, that when you get up from that spot, you are now a changed person who's dedicated to something, and the universe is going to start bringing that into you. And so it's going to be up to you to keep your eyes open, your ears open, and look for the things that the universe is going to start putting in your path to help you achieve that goal of dedication. So that closing part, what it would look like, if you've cast a circle, you can do the normal, going about the different corners and undoing it, which would be going clockwise or counterclockwise to undo. I don't do circles often enough.
Let's take a break. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I was muted. My bad. Talking to my son.
No worries. But when you leave this space and you're cleaning stuff up is when you're going to want to keep telling yourself over and over that you've just opened a door. You've walked through it. When you leave that space, the world that you went into that space knowing is now changed, because there are elements conspiring together to bring you the things that you're working towards. So it's, again, our mind is so central to our craft, and keeping your mind in thinking about the things that you want to work for, achieve, the outcome, the goal, that only makes it stronger. And the longer that you can stay in that state, that mind frame, the more it has. So I often immediately journal any experiences I had while I was in my circle, any thoughts that came to me. Sometimes they're really weird things that show up and I'm like, well, what the hell does that mean? And I just write it down and let it be. I don't always try to figure it out. And if they connect later, awesome. And if they don't, I'll be like, yeah, remember that one time a pineapple showed up in my reading and I have no idea what that meant. So it could just be, writing it down allows us to not focus too hard on one thing and then come back to it later when stuff does start happening. So I'm a huge believer in the journaling or keeping your grimoire, whatever it is you want to call it, to record what you're experiencing while you do these things. That way the universe knows you're paying attention, you're looking for signs, you're putting in the work too. It's one thing for us to ask for something, but if we're not putting forth any effort to get it as well, that dedication part, it's kind of a lost cause. There's that one I heard it a long time ago, and I hope I say it right, but there's a joke about this man. He's like, please, please, please let me win the lottery. And then he plays, nothing happens. Please, please, please. Or he doesn't play, but see, I knew I messed up. So he keeps asking to win the lottery. And then finally, I think it's God responds, please, 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 buy a ticket. Because the guy just like, he kept asking for it, but he wasn't actually putting himself out there with actionable items you can do to bring that goal to you. That's the same with spells. Anything, the dedication part of it, anything that you're really looking for, making those active steps to bring those things to you. So that would be the 3 parts. And all of the details in between there are so up to you. And it can be anything and everything that you're attracted to and you want. And it's endless as far as possibilities. But when you're thinking about dedication, it goes cleansing, ritual, and closing. So that's that. What questions do you guys have for me?
I have a question. And again, I'm sorry for yelling. I thought I was muted. That's so embarrassing. I have a bunch of kids. So my question is, so what does this thing, does it work for, like, I know you can't go against someone's free will, but what if you really want to become closer to someone? Can this also be used for that as well?
Yes. And I'll tell you the secret to bringing somebody close to you that doesn't have interest in you. You have to start seeing them in a new light and associate with them. You actually have to change yourself because that's what you have control over. So you have to do things differently with you to get them to, I don't want to say notice, but it's to get them to do something different. You'll have to change first. And that's how you don't affect their free will and still are working towards something that you want. So it's a very vague answer without knowing all the details. What questions do you have after me saying that?
So that would be like a self-love or like a attraction type of spell then, because you're only changing yourself.
Right. It could be self-love, it could be attraction, but it could also be something like show you the truth. There are times when we are blinded by other things and why we see people in a certain way rather than seeing them for who they really are. And if you can get a revealing spell to reveal truths about people that you may not realize you don't know, that's another helpful way to either see or not see, like, do I really want this person to want me? Do I really want to be close with this person? So I always do truth type spells or like revealing truth spells, like let everything be brought to light. And that's helped me because I have trust issues for sure. So I need clarity sometimes when bad things happen, or not bad things, but I don't know. Somebody could say one wrong thing to me and I'm like, snip, snip, you're out of my life. That's it. Because I feel that way. I'm like, I don't want to waste my time on people who aren't sincere or truthful. I need people to be pretty upfront. But in times where I'm like, maybe I took that wrong, I have a filter in which I see the world. Our perspectives are built off our past realities. So you have to look at it and say, am I really seeing that situation for what it is? Am I seeing this person for what they really are? So a revealing spell or a revealing dedication could also be that, to help you see things clearer.
Okay, I like that.
Then the next step to, all right, yes, I see things very clear. Now move forward with attraction, and attraction as in closeness, not like physical attraction. I wasn't thinking that so much, more of like, let our paths run into each other more often. Let us keep meeting in different places, or let us have situations that bring us close together. So that's where I was thinking that with the attraction part of it. Kind of like,
I'm sorry. So like when I say attraction, I mean like you become more attractive, like yourself, you become more attractive, and not necessarily physically, but just like people are more drawn to you. Is that like a free will type of thing too?
Yeah, and that is definitely self-love. You would want to do the self-love work first. Yeah. Love yourself fully and wholly, and if you can stand in the mirror, and you don't have to be naked, but you look at yourself and you can really say like, I love you. I love every part of you, all the mistakes you've made, all the things that we've been through. Like, I love who you are. If you can really look at yourself and stand in the mirror for a long time and just stare at yourself, that's getting you closer to that self-love and self-acceptance. So when you exude that, like, you shine brighter, and that is definitely going to make people notice you more, have people that are attracted to your light come into your life more. It can also bring in people attracted to your light that are not good, so be careful of that. But yeah, people like shiny things. So when you start shining, they start wanting to be close to you.
Okay, well, thank you.
Sure, of course. All right. Now for like a fun part, you guys, because I thought of this. I was talking about it at the beginning of the meeting, but I don't know if anybody has ever given themselves a magical name or chose a magical name or chose their name that they use in their spells and dedications. It's only one part of it. It is not 100% necessary, but it is so fun. I chose mine when I was really young, so obviously it doesn't work for me much. I don't tell people. People know, my family knows it because they have one account named that, but people don't understand why. I'm like,
I don't even know how to say it. Okay. I'm like, what is that?
It is a completely made up name that I used with letters from my own name to switch them around, because back then I knew that remember, I joined the military when I was 18. So I had to be like somebody else most of the time. And I needed there to be something that's just me for me. So I made my name Yamori, which my name is Jamie. So you can see that there's Jamie with a Y, Jayme. So Yamori with a Y at both ends. Y is the letter of the receiver of messages. So it's a person standing there as like a funnel to receive messages. And since that's how my whole path got started, I thought it was very fitting to make a name with a Y on each end. Now I've been through 22 years of, my craft, my self-discovery, who I am, and I'm not Yamori anymore. That the name sounds childish to me, I guess, because I know I picked it when I was very young. And so my new dedication is going to be, I want to come up with a better name, and I'm going to try to get my mom and my sister on board with our magical names, possibly this Wednesday. We do Witchy Wednesdays at my mom's house. And just the three of us, when we get together, that's what we do. So having our very small, tight circle is, I wrote these things down to make it easier so I don't have to brainstorm on the spot. But for a magical name or a witchy name, and this would be something that you only tell your witchy community, you only tell your friends that practice this stuff, and you can address each other by that when you have gatherings or get-togethers and talk about what the name means to you and why you chose it. So it should definitely reflect aspects of yourself. There were a ton of them that I could write down, but Bear Heart is one of the very common magical names because it exudes bear as in the strong person physically, but also protective. And then heart, meaning that it's a fierce heart. Like, I love fully, but I also probably hate fully. It's like that line being drawn. So that was just one example of somebody using elements to give themselves a magical name, but there's a ton of them. And you can go back to old Druid names if you want to, looking at, I like Egyptian stuff. So looking at like the old Egyptian names, I think is really cool. So adding in anything that you're really attracted to. But I have 4 questions for you to help get ideas for choosing your magical name if you want to go down that road. So this is all about discovering what is close to who you are right now. And you can change your magical name throughout your life. Like, I'm about to change mine. I never had a reason to before because I didn't really tell anybody what it was. It was just for me. But having the new circle that I have now, definitely want to change it. So right now in your life, or someone you are aspiring to be with your dedication, it's what god or goddess are you attracted to, have a connection to. Maybe it's been a reoccurring theme in your life where, the way they look, the elements that are used to represent them, weapons or powers they may have. So gods, goddesses, deities, from any of the mythology. The second one would be to look at any of the stories that you've really loved, like myths or legends, and in looking at that story, why do you relate with the character that you like so much? What is it in the story? Are you the hero? Are you, I was going to say the villain, but I'm sure we're not villains, but are you that person that's like working for good but seems bad, So
it's just a matter of perspective.
Yeah. They still serve a purpose.
I'm sure they're not their own villain.
So it's when you look at these stories that you're drawn to, what is it, what characteristics in these characters that draw you to them? And so you're going to want to help define yourself and understand yourself by looking through those stories and seeing why you're attracted to them. All right. And then of course, the next one, which is so easy, what animals or elements are you drawn to, feel close with, can stare at? Like if you were to go into a sanctuary with every animal possible, which one would you stand in front of the longest watching and looking at every detail of it? Would you want to see it eat and play, you know, if it was in a parenting situation? So the qualities of the animals that, so you can use qualities within your name or you can use the actual animal name, either way. So if you don't want to be bear something, you know, you could be something that, I don't know. I don't have any of these written down, so I'm not super great at making it up on the fly. But it's the qualities that attract you to that animal that would display that. So when you go to say your magical name to somebody, they get a feeling that comes with that. When you think of a eagle, you know, well, that was too easy because that's like the symbol of America. But, you know, what do you feel if somebody was like, had a magical name with seagull in it? You know what I think of when I think of a seagull? Like that's all they do all the time. So I'm not sure that anybody would take that seriously. Or maybe they're a jokester and they make everybody laugh. Like, I don't know. And the very last one is like plants, places, woods, forests, you know, different areas within nature. Because remember, being on this path, we're balancing ourselves with nature so that we're not just taking, but we're also giving back to that elemental cycle. So the give and take of the cycle and moving us through all of that within, you know, the nature. So for me, I'm definitely drawn to the woods and the water. I have no idea what I'll be have to be a split between the two of them. A walking fish, I don't know. So those are the 4 questions to start thinking about. What describes you? What are you attracted to? What you're attracted to would really say what you want to be later on, and giving yourself a dedicated magical name that you can just use yourself. You can use it in your grimoire or your book of shadows when you sign your pages, or you can tell your close circle. I know it can feel really weird and embarrassing, but the Druids a long time ago, they did this on every 7 years until the person started choosing it for themselves. So the first year of life, babies didn't usually have a name that stuck because they couldn't feel their energy as much. So it was like they were blessed and carried by their mother and they were called something, you know, but the name, they changed their name about 4 times in their life. So by the time they were in their 20s, they definitely had an identity and knew who they were. So it's not our custom today to change our name a lot unless we don't like our parents or they gave us some horrible name. But it was something that a long time ago people did to describe themselves.
Excuse me.
Oh yeah, Tank's outside. All right. And short and sweet, that is what I have tonight. I am open for any kind of questions or comments or thinkings. And if anybody wants to call me out on not completing my homework, I'm totally fine with that too. That was, I know Trent was so kind to send me a picture of some of the stuff he did. It was really nice.
Excuse me.
And
Thank you.
Kat, did you get yours done?
I have I'm going to go take a picture right now. I got my stuff done, but I didn't photograph.
I think she did an elemental altar as well.
Awesome.
So, Lindsay, last week we sort of decided what we were going to do for the week as like a homework, and everyone chose a thing to do. To just get better at or want to know more about or keep learning, you know, it was sort of like what keeps you to overcome some stuff. And I chose drawing cards, and I only did 1 day out of the 7. Everybody else did altars or dedications to something, and so that's what we're talking about right now since you weren't here last week. And Jessica, that's what we talked about last week, kind of at the end. Yeah, you can put it right onto the meetup, but what was yours? An elemental altar, right?
Yeah, well, it was a gratitude altar.
Gratitude, that's right.
But I ended up, where do I put it on the meetup?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, so the pictures would be there.
I can't put it on last week's.
You just add it like straight to like right here. See, add photo.
Add photo.
Yeah, so the photos that people add can be added to the group not into the meeting, but you can go just to the group itself. And if you scroll under that first photo, there'll be an add photo thing, and you can add any of your photos for stuff that you want to there.
Okay. All right. There it is. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Post. All right. Oh,
So-
I forgot to add a caption. Oops.
So Kat did hers.
All
Well,
right.
the coincidence with my drawing a card, you guys, what happened was I bought this new deck because on Instagram, I think I said this story last week. On Instagram, there were one of those.
Nice, Trent.
I know.
That's very nice.
They were one of those posts where it's flipping a card always, right? And you gotta like do a screenshot and like, oh, what card did you get? And I got a card called the One. And I was like, well, now how do I find out what that means? Aha, that's how she got me to buy the deck, because I needed to know what the card meant. So luckily it was on Amazon for half off. I went ahead and bought it. And I was like, okay. Well, then I learned that this archetypes card deck was really heavy as far as knowledge and the input into it and her whole journey to creating it and stuff. So I was like, whoa, this is not just a normal deck of cards, you know, where I know all the suits and meanings and stuff. Well, when I went to draw my very first card, you know what it was? The One again. So from this deck, that's the only card I've really drawn so far. And I'm like, oh shit, there must need to be a thing around it. And it was about duality. It was about seeing ourselves as nothing. Well, it sounds weird to say as nothing, but as like the one love. So we're not just an individual having the experiences, but we're all part of that like one love community. And it just led me into a whole rabbit hole of stuff to think about and consider. And that's where I got stuck. So my one card stumped me and I was not able to, because I didn't get to the bottom of it. I didn't draw the card the next day. And then that just continued for 6 days straight. So that's my story on my homework. What are you doing?
Well,
She's trying to post the.
I forgot. No, I posted it.
Oh, okay.
But I didn't add a comment to it, and I had to get right up on it. So
Yeah.
that's my altar that I made.
Very hard to see, Mom.
I'll look at it after the meeting for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see it somewhat, but I'll look at the picture after the meeting.
Well, yours is so much cooler. It's kind of embarrassing, but you know, if
no,
you don't
no,
get
no,
if you
no.
don't get your first altar right, you have lots of other opportunities to make better altars.
Yeah, they're supposed to move. They're supposed to change anyway. They're like living organisms. So
Yeah.
They're living art. That's how I always think of it. It's like living art where you just kind of move things around as you feel. And you're like, oh yeah, that's not really working for me anymore. I have this other thing that I really want there instead.
And so mine was about gratitude, right? So I was supposed to make a gratitude altar. I ended up just making an altar, which is something I haven't done yet. Like for real altar with all my stuff on it. And so I did have a jar. And like 3 days, so you said you only pulled a card one day. Well, I managed to get something that I was grateful for into that jar 3 or 4 times last week. My biggest, I guess, well, one day I was like, oh, what am I grateful for? I couldn't think of anything, right? But I need little pieces of paper handy right there so that I can write it down. Because I'm like, okay, what am I going to write this on? Where's a Post-it note?
Disorganized.
I'm super disorganized. But I'm going to keep it up because I really like the idea of like taking these all out one day and just like laying them out and be like, look at all the things that over the course of time that I was, and I don't know if I should date them. I kind of don't want to date them. I just want to name things, you know? And so, and I sort of like that.
yeah.
I think so. I like it. She's the first person to ever tell me about a gratitude altar, you know? So she always comes up with these interesting takes on her practice because it's things that I've never thought of before. I'm like, oh yeah, gratitude altar. That's not, yeah, I've never thought of that. Mine have always been more, I don't want to say serious, but like way more, ooh, I got it, working on this thing and it's very intense. And
Well, and actually I'm like I'm pulling tarot cards every day on the gratitude altar, but I think it's like an altar and then I've got a gratitude jar. But you know, I think it's good. The first day that I did this, the experience of it was, you know, walking my dog that morning and starting to say, I'm grateful for this. I got really emotional, you guys. I was like, oh my God. Stop, I'm gonna cry. I was all emotional about, I'm grateful for, I love my neighborhood and I have sidewalks and stuff. It was something that I dreamed about having when I got my new house, because in my old house where I used to live, I was really close to the highway and there was just no place to walk. I couldn't walk my dog anywhere. You had to go somewhere to walk your dog. And now I can walk out my door and I've got
sidewalks.
I've got sidewalks there, and I just love my neighborhood. It's just so cute, and it's just quaint and peaceful, and I'm really happy here. So anyway, but that first morning that I did that, I was like, oh, I wasn't expecting that reaction.
Well, remember, there's only two energy waves really that our brain is always in. We're either in the creating mode or we're in the survival mode. And when you're in the survival mode, that's when you're going through like your checklist of things I got to do in my job, and are my kids fed, and did I leave the water on, and whatever. Those are all your responsibilities and the stuff that is just like surviving this life. When you're in the creative side, this is that I'm grateful. I can, be doing something. I'm totally zoned out. I'm not thinking about food or any of my physical desires. It's just being in that moment and being like unobstructed by your worries and your fears. And so this, for Lindsay, this is a great thing. As you tell yourself, as you acknowledge all the things that you're grateful for, you should well up. You should definitely feel that energy grow in such a positive way. It's kind of like, I know I don't go to church, but I've been in church when everybody is singing at the same time. And if it's like gospel or whatever, it's powerful to go into a place where that energy level is raised so high that you're like, oh, wow, like the hairs on my arm can stand up, because everybody's in sync with their energy and what they're thinking or feeling or saying even. So when we do that for ourselves, we raise our own vibration to fit that of like the ultimate, all-inclusive love, all being part of that one love, like creating energy. Yeah. So I'm very happy for you. I'm glad that you got to experience that. I'm glad that you don't think it's, bad or dumb or wrong or whatever. Because, sometimes people can.
It was surprising is what it was. It was just a surprising reaction that I thought, what's wrong with me?
Oh, there it was. I know you have some kind of like, what the heck?
Why am I emotional, And then she explained the raising your vibration.
Yeah, so it's a perfect place to be. If you can get so happy that you make yourself cry, you are shining so bright. And no matter where you go, people will notice you, because we have sensory perception for stuff. And when people raise their energy that high, everybody can notice. You just seem different. You're putting out a different wavelength into the universe. It's never a bad place to be. That's why I've told you guys from the anxiety in my car, I had to put in there, now I forget, but I think it was gratitude, love, joy, peace when I drive, so that I could repeat those things to myself to change the energy when I drive, because I figured I was going to cause an accident because of my anxiety over driving. And that was just trying to raise that vibration. What we say to ourselves in our head really help focus that energy into something better than fear, anxiety, what we're worried about, where we're going, that would be the difference. So yeah, you experienced it. All right, that's all I have for tonight.
Wait, what's our homework for next week? It's Lunisal.
I mean,
oh my gosh, we need something. I feel like we need something to do again. I don't know about you guys, but I want something to do. So did we come with an idea? What are we going to do? Are we going to talk about Lunisal next week?
So with Lunisal being the first harvest festival, the thing that you're making me come up with something on the spot, but
I'm sorry. For me, on the spot, you guys. Sorry about that.
For me, Lunisal is usually about relationships, because at midsummer, your relationships of some kind should have been at their peak. That's where the energy lies. Beltane is the meeting and the mixing, and then there's the high of a midsummer, June 22nd. So now we're right into August 1st, which our meeting's on August 2nd. So remember, it's just the energy within that time frame, that week or two. But you're now in that moment of I built something, I've experienced it. What do I think about it? So this would be the first time that you sit back and really say, not necessarily what you're grateful for, but like, what did I change this year that I'm really glad? Or what did I do? What did I plan? It's accomplishments. You always being able to look back at our accomplishments or things that we've taken care of during the year to make ourselves better. the acknowledgement of that for these next 3 holidays, and with Samhain being that last one, it's like new year, transition, start again. What are we working towards? You're in that flux between grateful for what you've done. How can I get better? What might I do different next year? So the next 3 months really are about goal setting. So any kind of, I mean, this plays off of last week too. I guess that's why I thought about it so much, but the goal setting to get better at the things that we want to become. Like in the distance, there is your future self, and what that person looks like, feels like, sounds like, you know, how do we talk to ourselves? How do we talk to other people? What do we feel inside of our heart every day when we wake up? How do we feel when we go out into the world? You know, are we treating people with kindness, even if they don't seem kind to us? And it's that reflection to turn into goals for next year. That's these next 3 holidays. So you guys are going to hear me repeat this, because this is like, these 3 holidays are really the only time when it's really the repeated thing. You're reaping, and then you're learning what you could do better. Reaping, what can you do better? And it's, you know, anything from really big projects to very small things. And you can challenge yourself to get better in between these holidays as well.
I already know what mine is. I've got mine for next week.
Oh, well, do you want to tell us?
Yes, I do, because it's on my mind right now.
All right, put it out there.
Because I already know, I know where I'm going to go to. So this is a preview of next week, you guys. So me and plants. So
Plants.
I used to call myself a black thumb, because every plant that I got, I would kill. I forget to water them. You know, I buy a plant, I stick it in the corner. I was like, oh, what happened to him? Well, you never paid attention to him. You never watered him. So I made up my mind. This was my relationship with my plants, to start like taking better care of them, because I don't have a like people relationship. But anyway, that's a different story. But, you know, to take care of them, like to pay attention to them, to remember to water them, to write the schedule on the wall until I got used to it. And I've done that. And now I have plants everywhere. So my next,
And they're all green.
And they're all green. And yeah, they're all growing, and people see them and they're like, oh, I love your plants. And that just gives me such a sense of pride, because it was a challenge for me to turn from a black thumb to a green thumb. But now my next step, what I want to do, and this is super exciting, and you're going to be super excited about this. I want to grow herbs, all the herbs that you can use, the different herbs that you can use in spells and things. Yeah. I want to grow them from like seeds. And so that is my next goal. And I think I can still do that here in the winter.
Yes. Wintertime in Florida is our growing season. So anybody who wants to do seed stuff, I could definitely bring up seed starting in Florida. I don't know. Lindsay, I'm not sure where you're at. And Jessica, I know you're up north. So you could grow indoor.
I'm in Texas.
You're in Texas. So you probably have a mild winter, unless you're really north, like up by Oklahoma.
No, I have a mild winter. I'm in Houston, so it's more further south.
You're warm all the time.
You're in the Gulf also.
I mean, it's the climate of our growing season is the winter time. So anything you want to start from seed, any herbs that you want to use for magic, or just to bring in the vibration. Remember, the plants that we have, everything has an energy and vibrates in energy. When we bring these living green things into our house, they're also vibrating an energy into our spaces. So when we grow the plants that are associated with love, dreams, I don't know. Those are the 2 things I could think of. Prosperity. Heck yeah, basil, you guys. Grow basil. It grows in a windowsill.
What's rosemary associated with?
Protection, love.
Okay.
I mean, protection. So when you grow these things and you can use them, either eat them, make drinks with them, however, or just have them in your house, that all creates the vibration within your space as well. So plants. And caring for a plant there's like a relationship thing with that. Like after you've been in a bad one,
it's definitely a relationship.
You got to keep a plant alive for a year.
And I had like PTSD from killing so many of them. I was just like, I'm just never going to be good at this, you know? And that wasn't true. I mean, that was my mindset, because for so long I wasn't. And it was really, I needed to change something about myself, which was that I needed to pay attention, and I needed to figure out how to pay attention. So for me, it was write the schedule. I have a whiteboard, you know, dry erase board in my kitchen for like notes for groceries and stuff like that. So I actually wrote it down on there. As like, Wednesday, and then I gave an abbreviation. So Wednesday, wet, which means I just give, especially the outside ones, a little bit of water. Saturday, soak, and then everybody in the house gets soaked, gets water. And now we're all very in tune. They all, and this whole room right here is kind of turned into my green room because it's where all the light is, because it's on the west side of the house. And so, yeah, they make me really happy.
And look at that vibration level rising, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Her house definitely feels a lot better now that she has living things in it. Yeah. Besides herself and the dog, of course.
And the dust bunnies.
So it helps. But that's, those are the things that over the next 3 holidays you would think about as far as goals, what you want to bring into your life, how to get there. And I want to point out that with me, like my lack of doing the homework, really, be gentle with yourself when you don't succeed at it at first. If at first you don't succeed, try again. We have until our time ends to keep trying things. So there's no reason to give up and then never start again. Like, just if it's something that you want, keep going after it. Don't give up on it. That dedication and that time, that every time you try it again and you're retuning, you're fine tuning the skills in order to get the thing that you're looking for, whatever skill it is, whatever practice, that's the part that really grows you. Like her finally being able to pay attention to her plants, that's a skill, to be able to notice certain things in your environment. And that's something that she had to open herself up to do. So, yeah. So wait, did we make a homework of, I don't know if there was a homework there somewhere of what, well, this was the same as last week. Maybe it's always that. It's like, maybe it's more about what are you trying to change within yourself that you're working on? Maybe it's more of a personal, internal thing rather than something that we're creating outside of ourselves. We start looking internally. And if it's too private, don't feel like you have to share. This path is very deep and private. But if it's something that you want to share that you're working on or reworking on in a lot of cases, we can come with that next week and talk about it. I'll come up with
what's the
something
spell for procrastination, or like not procrastinate? I'm really bad. I have like 7 wreaths hanging around here that are yet to be up on SC, and I don't know why. I'm not sure what I'm waiting. Fear of failure.
Fear of failure.
It's
the unknowing. This is where people get stuck in the craft also, though, right? There's so much that you're like, I don't know how to take that first step because I don't want to do the first step wrong, because then what does the path look like after that? So it's that fear, the fear of getting started because the first step might not be the right way. I'm going to tell you guys the same, and this applies to all areas of life, but it's from the guy who created LinkedIn. I don't know his name, but his thing that he said was, if you are not embarrassed by the first product you launch too late. So if you apply that to the things that you're trying for, if you don't have anything to learn from the first time that you did something, you waited way too long to do something. That's really the lesson there. That's why I always tell people, instead of waiting until you think you've got a spell perfect, try it out, see how it goes, practice it. I've told you guys, you can practice a spell all the way through and not mean it, just so you can say the words you want to, so you can get all your materials together, walk through it. And every single time you'll learn something. 22 years in my practice, and I still forget stuff. I still don't do it the way I envisioned in my head, Miss Perfectionist over here. And I'm not harsh on myself, because I'm like, that's okay. Every time I do this, I get better about the knowing, better about where I go for it, what I say, all those little mishaps make great stories too. So it's okay. I hope that helped. I hope that was something that somebody needed to hear, that if you aren't embarrassed by your first step out onto a dance floor, you waited too late, get out there and have fun. That goes with everything. And look, you were killing plants, but you continued going, right? She was embarrassed to tell me too, because I'm a huge plant grower, but it didn't stop her. So yeah. All right. I'm not sure if we really created a homework thing, but I would love to hear what people are working on for themselves, that they're really trying to get to that vision in the future where they see that person that they want to be, and what are the steps that get you there look like something. So for me,
come with your stories to share next week if you can.
Yeah, for sure. And I guess I'll go ahead and close out the meeting if there's not any more questions. So, no, okay.
We covered a lot tonight.
I thought it was going to be very short, but thank you. The magical name thing was a spur of the moment. Is that how you say it? Spur of the moment, not a spare moment, but a spur. But the ritual, Trent, you and I had talked about that a while ago, the dedication thing. And it's been sort of in the back of my mind. And I think I was fearful to talk about it because I've only done it for myself and I definitely don't follow anybody else's rules with it. So I hope that I did it justice. And I hope you guys got something from it, from my perspective. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I have one more question about the ritual, the whole thing. So for the bath, is there a specific time that should be done at? Like, I know a lot of people do that when there's a full moon. Is there a specific way to go about that?
I'll tell you the easy answer is no. What really matters is your intent when you're doing it. You can add in other elements like a full moon power. If you can see the full moon from where you're at, if you've made moon water that you add to your bath, you can always add elements into what you're doing, but you don't ever have to start with them. It really just starts with how focused you can be in your mind first. Your intentions and what you bring with it are going to be your number one. Everything else you add to it, if you feel drawn to flower petals, amethyst, or rose quartz, if you want to put anything else around you, if candles make you feel serene and can get you into that deep moment, the music that you add to your cleansing bath, all of that, those are just extra added tools to help you get to that place. So the easy answer is no, you need nothing but yourself. Anything you want to add to that can help elevate the vibrations within what you're doing.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. It was nice talking to you tonight, Lindsay.
You too. I'll definitely be back.
All right. Well, everybody have a wonderful week, and I will see you next week, hopefully. James, try.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye. See
Bye.
you. All right, I forgot I was going to let everybody exit out because it's much easier that way. Here we are, another successful meeting. Yay! All right.